You know what nobody tells you about attending the most prestigious academy in the Galactic Union? That one day, without any warning whatsoever, a human will show up to your physical fitness class and completely destroy everything you thought you knew about gravity, pain tolerance, and the basic laws of survival. My name is Ven, and I am a Quellerian. We are a perfectly respectable species, thank you very much. We have 4 eyes, which means we can see twice as well as most species. We have excellent hearing. Our bones are light and efficient. We invented the quantum stabilizer before we even achieved faster-than-light travel. We are, by all accounts, a successful and intelligent species. But we are not built for what happened that day in Station 12's gymnasium. Let me set the scene for you. It was a regular 5th day morning, which meant physical wellness and combat fundamentals with Instructor Brace. Instructor Brace is a Korthian, one of those big, muscular types with 6 arms and an exoskeleton that could probably survive a shuttle crash. He is exactly the kind of person you want teaching you how to not die in an emergency situation. Terrifying, yes, but effective. There were 23 of us in that class, mostly Quellerians like myself. A few plenary who are basically floating jellyfish with delusions of athleticism. Some Threxians who have too many legs and not enough sense, and my best friend Kip, who is a Vorthan and looks like someone crossed a grasshopper with a diplomat. All right, initiates. Instructor Brace's voice boomed across the gymnasium, echoing off the high ceiling. Today we will be doing endurance training. You will complete 3 full circuits of the obstacle course. Anyone who fails to complete all 3 circuits will be doing extra core strengthening exercises. Groans rippled through the group. The obstacle course was a nightmare. It had climbing walls, balance beams, sections where you had to crawl through tight spaces, and these horrible swinging platforms that were specifically designed to make you question your life choices. Oh, wonderful, Kip muttered next to me, his antennae drooping. I barely survived 2 circuits last time. At least you have powerful legs, I pointed out. I have noodles. Your legs are fine. They are noodles, Kip. Thin, useless noodles. Before Kip could respond with what I am sure would have been a very supportive and friendship-affirming comment, the gymnasium doors slid open with a soft hiss, and that is when everything changed. A human walked in. Now let me explain something. Humans were still relatively new to the Galactic Union at this point. They had only made contact about 8 cycles ago, and their integration had been, well, complicated. See, humans come from a planet called Earth, which is classified as a Class 12 Deathworld, Class 12. Let that sink in. Most civilized species evolved on Class 3 or Class 4 worlds. Anything above Class 8 is considered barely habitable. Class 12 means the planet is actively trying to kill everything on it at all times. Humans evolved on a planet with massive predators, extreme weather, dangerous bacteria, high gravity, and apparently they decided that was just fine and became the apex predators anyway. We had all heard the stories, of course. Humans who could run for hours without stopping. Humans who could heal from injuries that would kill most species. Humans who could eat things that were literally poisonous to everyone else and call it spicy food. Humans who could survive in temperature ranges that would send most species into shock. But stories are just stories, right? They get exaggerated. They get blown out of proportion, right? The human who walked into our gymnasium was not particularly large by human standards, or so I had heard. She was maybe 1.7 meters tall, which was actually pretty average for most species. She had dark skin, darker than Instructor Brace's exoskeleton, and her hair was pulled back into a single braid that fell down her back. She wore the standard Academy fitness uniform, which looked exactly like everyone else's uniform except for the fact that it was on a human. Ah, excellent. Instructor Brace's voice actually sounded pleased, which was a rarity. You must be our new transfer student. Everyone, this is Maya Okonkwo. She will be joining our class for the remainder of the term. Maya smiled and waved at us. It was a perfectly friendly gesture. Her teeth were mostly flat except for those slightly pointed canines that all humans have, a reminder of their predatory heritage. 23 students stared back in complete silence. Hi everyone, Maya said, her voice friendly and warm. Looking forward to training with you all. More silence. Kip leaned over to me and whispered, that is a human. Yes, Kip, I have eyes. 4 of them. A human is going to do the obstacle course with us. I am aware, a human from Earth, the Death World. Kip, I swear on my ancestors, if you do not stop stating the obvious, I will push you off a balance beam. Instructor Brace clapped two of his hands together, the sound sharp and commanding. Excellent. Now that introductions are complete, let us begin. Everyone, warm-up stretches, 15 minutes. Maya, feel free to follow along or do your own warm-up routine. What happened next should have been our first warning. We all began our standard stretches. Quadrians have a pretty good range of motion, so our stretches involve a lot of limb extension and joint rotation. The Plenari just kind of bobbed in place. The Threxians did this thing where they folded their legs in configurations that looked physically impossible. Maya found an open space on the mat and began her warm-up. And I am not exaggerating when I say that every single person in that gymnasium stopped what they were doing to watch. She started by bending forward at the waist and placing her palms flat on the ground without bending her knees. Just straight down. Her legs did not even shake. Okay, that is impressive flexibility, Kip murmured. Then she went down into what she called a split, where both her legs extended in opposite directions until she was basically sitting on the ground with her legs at a 180-degree angle. That should not be possible, someone whispered behind me. I think it was Della, one of the Threxians. Then Maya stood up, grabbed her foot and pulled it up behind her head while balancing on one leg. Her other foot, while standing. Just standing there, completely stable, with her foot behind her head. By the 7 moons, Kip breathed. Her joints are made of rubber. That is not even the concerning part, I muttered. Look at her breathing. She is not even trying. It was true. Maya's breathing was slow and steady. She was not straining. This was casual for her. Instructor Brace, to his credit, seemed more excited than concerned. Excellent flexibility, Maya. Very important for avoiding injury. Everyone else, stop gawking and finish your stretches. We returned to our warm-ups, but I noticed everyone kept glancing over at Maya. She continued her routine, flowing through poses and stretches that looked like they required either multiple joints or a complete disregard for the structural integrity of one's skeleton. All right, Instructor Brace finally called out. Warm-ups complete. Everyone line up at the starting position. We will go in groups of 5. First group, you are up. The obstacle course started with a rope climb. Standard stuff. You climbed up a 6-meter rope to a platform, then moved on to the next section. Most species could handle this, though it usually took some effort. The first group went. Della the Threxian made it up in about 45 seconds, which was pretty good considering she had to coordinate all those legs. 2 Qualarians from my cohort made it up in about a minute each. One of the Plenari gave up halfway and floated down in shame. Next group. Kip was in this group. I watched him struggle his way up the rope, his powerful legs doing most of the work while his arms just kind of hung on. He made it in 50 seconds, then gave me a tired thumbs up from the platform. Well, the Vorthon equivalent of a thumbs up, which involved antennae positioning. 3 more groups went. Everyone completed the rope climb, though times varied wildly. Some took 2 minutes. One enthusiastic Threxian made it up in 38 seconds and would not stop talking about it. Final group, let us go. I was in this group. So was Maya. We all grabbed our ropes. I looked over at Maya, who was inspecting her rope like she was checking its quality. She wrapped her hands around it, positioned her feet, and waited for the signal. Begin! I started climbing. Hand over hand, legs pushing, trying to find a rhythm. Rope climbing is hard when you have thin noodle arms, but I was doing my best. I focused on my technique, on my breathing, on not looking down. And then I heard gasping from below. I glanced over at Maya's rope, and my brain simply refused to process what I was seeing. She was climbing it like a ladder. No, faster than a ladder. Her arms were pulling her up in smooth, powerful motions, her legs gripping the rope with perfect precision, and she was moving at a speed that seemed physically impossible. 3 seconds had passed since the start signal. 6 meters. 6 full meters of rope. She reached the platform in 8.4 seconds. 8.4 seconds. The previous record had been 38 seconds. Everyone on the ground level had stopped climbing. Even Instructor Brace was staring. Maya reached the top platform and looked down at the rest of us. Oh, sorry, should I have waited? I did not mean to rush ahead. No, no, no. Instructor Brace's voice had taken on a tone I had never heard from him before. Was that excitement? Fear? Awe? That was exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. Please, continue with the course. The rest of us finished our climbs in various states of shock. I made it up in 1 minute and 12 seconds, which was actually pretty good for me, but I was too distracted to feel proud. When I pulled myself onto the platform, I could see Maya was already halfway through the next section, which was a series of horizontal bars you had to swing across. She was swinging across them like they were nothing. Like gravity was a suggestion. Her momentum was perfect, her grip was solid, and she moved with a grace that made it look effortless. "This is bad," Kip said, pulling himself up next to me. "This is very bad." "Why is it bad?" "Because now Instructor Brace knows what humans are capable of. He is going to make the course harder." Kip was absolutely right, but we did not know that yet. We all made our way through the first circuit. The obstacle course included balance beams, which Maya crossed at a light jog. There were climbing walls with small handholds, which Maya scaled like she had suction cups for hands. There was a section with heavy bags you had to push across a track, and Maya moved hers without breaking a sweat. By the time we all finished the first circuit, most of us were exhausted. The plenary were floating in a corner, discussing whether physical education was really necessary for their career paths. The Threxians were breathing hard. We Quellerians were questioning our life choices. Maya was standing near the water station, barely breathing hard with just a light sheen of moisture on her skin. "Great first circuit, everyone," Instructor Brace called out. "Take a 5-minute water break, then we begin Circuit 2. Everyone shuffled toward the water station. I filled my container and drank deeply, trying to get my heart rate back to normal. Kip collapsed onto a bench nearby. Maya approached us with a smile. "Hey, you guys did great out there. I am Maya, by the way." I did not really get to introduce myself properly. Up close I could see that her eyes were dark brown, almost black, and they had this intensity to them that made me slightly nervous, but her smile seemed genuine and friendly. "I am Ben," I managed. "This is Kip. Nice to meet you both," Maya said. "Sorry if I went too fast on the rope climb. I used to do rock climbing back home as a hobby, so ropes are kind of my thing." "Rock climbing," Kip repeated faintly. "As a hobby." "Yeah, it is fun. You should try it sometime. Although I guess the gravity here is lighter than Earth standard, so it is a bit easier." "Easier," she said, "easier." The gravity in the gymnasium was set to 0.8 standard gers, which was comfortable for most species. Earth's gravity was 0.97 standard gers. The difference was negligible. "That was very impressive," I said, because someone had to say something. "I have never seen anyone complete the rope climb that fast." Maya laughed.
Thanks.
"I mean, humans are pretty good at climbing. We used to live in trees way back in our evolutionary history, before we became persistence hunters." "Persistence hunters?" Kip asked. "Oh yeah. Humans evolved to chase prey over long distances until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. Our ancestors could track an animal for hours, sometimes days, until it was too tired to run anymore. Then we would walk up and, finish the job." The way she said it, so casual, so matter-of-fact, made my blood run cold. "We evolved to chase things until they died from exhaustion." "What kind of species does that?" "That is horrifying," I said before I could stop myself. Maya blinked.
Is it? I guess I never really thought about it that way.
"It is just, history. Your history involves running animals to death." "Well, when you put it like that, it sounds bad. How else would I put it?" Before Maya could answer, Instructor Brace's voice boomed across the gymnasium. "Break time is over. Everyone back to starting positions. Circuit 2 begins now." We all groaned and made our way back to the start line. My legs felt like they were made of recycled gel paste. Kip's antennae were drooping so low they were practically dragging on the ground. The Pranari looked like they were preparing to write their wills. Maya looked ready to run a marathon. "All right, everyone," Instructor Brace called out. "This circuit, I want to see improvement. Push yourselves. Remember, physical fitness is not just about strength. It is about mental fortitude. It is about pushing past your limits." We started the second circuit. It was worse than the first. Everything was worse. The rope climb felt impossible. My arms were shaking. Kip was muttering prayers to Vorthandarites I did not even know he believed in. Maya completed the rope climb in 7.9 seconds. She had improved her time. The horizontal bars felt like torture devices. My grip kept slipping. I watched two Quellerians ahead of me fall onto the safety mats below and have to start over. Maya swung across them without a single pause, her movements fluid and controlled. The balance beams were a nightmare. My legs were trembling so badly I nearly fell off twice. Maya jogged across them again, then did a little hop at the end just because she apparently had energy to spare. By the time we finished Circuit 2, 3 students had given up entirely. The remaining students looked like we had been through a desire evacuation. We were sweating, gasping, and seriously reconsidering our academic choices. "Excellent effort, everyone," Instructor Brace called out. "I can see you are all being challenged. This is good. Growth happens outside your comfort zone. Now, 10-minute break before the final circuit." 10 minutes. We had 10 minutes to prepare ourselves for one more circuit of torture. I collapsed onto the floor next to Kip, who had given up on sitting properly and was just lying flat on his back. "I am going to die," Kip announced to the ceiling. "We are not going to die. Look at me then. Look at my face. This is the face of someone who is going to die." "You are being dramatic. The human is not even tired. Look at her. She is talking to Instructor Brace and smiling." Smiling. I turned my head, which took considerable effort, and saw that Kip was right. Maya was indeed talking with Instructor Brace, and she was gesturing enthusiastically about something. She looked like she was having fun. What kind of psychopath has fun during endurance training? Do you think she is even capable of getting tired? I wondered aloud. I think she could do this course 50 more times and still have energy left over to fight off a security drone, Kip muttered. One of the Planari floated over to us, hovering at head height. Their name was Quillix, and they looked miserable, which is hard to achieve when you are a gelatinous floating being. "I heard humans can regulate their body temperature by secreting liquid through their skin," Quillix said in their watery voice. "That is disgusting," I replied. "It is extremely efficient," Quillix continued. "Most species overheat during extended physical activity. Humans just secrete more liquid and keep going." "So you are telling me that humans are basically unstoppable endurance machines, with built-in cooling systems," Kip said flatly. "That is exactly what I am telling you." "Fantastic. Wonderful. I am so glad I chose to attend an academy that accepts Deathworlders." Instructor Brace's voice rang out again. "Break time over. Everyone up. Final circuit. Let us finish strong." Nobody moved. I said everyone up. With groans that could have registered as distress signals, we all dragged ourselves to our feet. Well, those of us with feet, the Planari just kind of elevated slightly. Maya bounced over to the start line. Actually bounced, like she had springs in her legs. "You okay then?" she asked me, genuine concern in her voice. "I am fine," I lied. "Just conserving energy." "Smart. The third round is always the hardest mentally. Your body wants to quit, but you have to push through. Just focus on your breathing and take it one obstacle at a time." She said this like she was giving casual advice, not like she was a terrifying apex predator who could probably complete this course in her sleep. "Thanks," I managed. "No problem. We are all in this together, right?" Were we, though? Were we really? "Begin!" The final circuit was agony. Pure, undiluted agony. My arms felt like they were going to detach from my body during the rope climb. I made it up in 2 minutes and 14 seconds, which was willy-nilly slow, but I made it. Maya made it up in 7.6 seconds. She was still improving her time. The horizontal bars were a blur of pain. I barely made it across without falling. My hands were cramping. My shoulders were screaming. Maya swung across them like she was performing in an acrobatic show. The balance beams were torture. I went slowly, carefully, knowing that one wrong step would send me onto the mats below. Maya ran across them. She ran across narrow beams designed for careful, slow crossing. She ran across them like they were a regular floor. By the time I reached the final obstacle, which was a low crawl through a tunnel section, I was ready to accept my fate. If I died in this tunnel, so be it. At least I would not have to do any more circuits. I crawled through, inch by painful inch. My elbows were going to be bruised for days. My knees were screaming, but I made it through. I emerged on the other side and collapsed. "Time!" Instructor Brace called out. "Circuit complete. Well done, then. That is 3 full circuits completed. I lay on the mat, staring at the ceiling, wondering if this counted as a near-death experience. Kip crawled out of the tunnel next to me and immediately flopped onto his back. I have never been more tired in my entire life. Same. I think my legs have permanently stopped working. Same. Maya finished her third circuit. Her time was somehow faster than her second circuit. She walked over to where Kip and I were lying and sat down next to us, cross-legged, barely breathing hard. "That was a good workout," she said cheerfully. Kip and I both turned our heads to stare at her. "A good workout," Kip repeated. "Yeah, nice to get the blood pumping, you know." "The blood pumping. Are you okay? You are repeating everything I say." "I think my brain has stopped working along with my legs," Kip explained. Maya laughed. It was a nice laugh, warm and genuine. "You guys did great. Seriously. Finishing 3 circuits is no joke." "You made it look easy," I pointed out. "Oh well, I have been training since I was pretty young. Plus, you know, human physiology is kind of built for this stuff. Endurance is our thing." "Endurance," I said. "And persistence," Kip added. "And not dying," I finished. Maya looked confused. "Not dying. You are from a Class 12 Deathworld," I explained. "Everything about you is designed for not dying in the most hostile environment imaginable." "Oh." Maya thought about this for a moment. "I guess that is true. Earth is pretty dangerous. We have large predators, extreme weather, natural disasters, poisonous plants and animals, diseases. But you just kind of learn to deal with it, you know?" "No," Kip said. "We do not know. Because most species do not have to deal with any of that." "Really? What is your home world like?" "Pleasant," Kip said. "Green, peaceful. The most dangerous animal is the clept bird, and it is only dangerous because it steals shiny objects." "That sounds nice." "It is nice. It is very nice. Nothing is trying to kill us all the time." Maya considered this. "I guess that does sound relaxing." Instructor Brace's voice interrupted our conversation. "Excellent work today. Initiates. You have all pushed yourselves and completed 3 full circuits. Be proud of your effort. I am particularly impressed with our new student, Maya, who has shown exceptional physical capability." Class dismissed. Cool-down stretches. Then hit the cleaning chambers. Everyone began doing their cool-down stretches in various states of exhaustion. Maya stood up and offered her hand to me. "Need help up?" I looked at her hand, then at my body, which had decided it was now part of the floor. "Yes, please." She pulled me to my feet effortlessly, like I weighed nothing. Which compared to Earth's gravity I probably did. "Thanks," I said. "No problem, same time next class?" "Unfortunately, yes." Maya grinned. "It will get easier. Trust me." As she walked away to do her cool-down stretches, which probably involved bending herself into impossible shapes again, Kip pulled himself to his feet next to me. "Ben," he said seriously. "Yes? We are going to die in this class." "Probably. She is going to accidentally kill us just by existing near us. Most likely. And Instructor Brace is going to see what she can do and increase the difficulty for everyone. Almost certainly. Why did we choose this academy again? Because it has the best engineering program in 3 sectors." "Right, engineering. I remember now, that thing we wanted to do before we knew we would be doing physical fitness training with a human." We made our way to the cleaning chambers, our bodies protesting every movement. Behind us we could hear Maya chatting with some of the other students, probably making friends with her terrifying friendliness and her complete lack of understanding about how abnormal she was. This was going to be a long term. A very long term. 3 weeks. It had been 3 weeks since Maya Okonkwo walked into our lives and fundamentally changed what we thought was possible in physical wellness and combat fundamentals. 3 weeks of watching a human do things that should violate several laws of physics. 3 weeks of Instructor Brace getting increasingly excited about pushing the limits of the class. 3 weeks of me and Kip seriously considering transferring to a different section, possibly one on a different station, maybe in a different sector entirely. But here is the thing about humans that nobody warns you about. They are not just physically terrifying, they are also annoyingly nice. Maya had become friends with half the class, including me and Kip, despite our initial terror. She helped Quillix with their homework, taught Della a better technique for the rope climb, and always had encouraging words for everyone. It made it very hard to maintain a healthy level of fear around her. "All right, initiates. Instructor Brace's voice boomed across the gymnasium. It was fifth day again, which meant another session of questioning our life choices. Today is a special day. We will be moving beyond individual endurance training. Today we begin combat scenarios. Oh no. Oh no 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 no. Combat scenarios. Kip whispered next to me, his antennae rigid with alarm. As in fighting. Actual fighting. Hopefully simulated fighting. I whispered back. We will be doing paired sparring exercises. Instructor Brace continued, clearly enjoying himself. Nothing too intense. Basic defensive maneuvers, evasion techniques, and controlled engagement. The goal is not to hurt each other but to learn how to protect yourselves in dangerous situations. Maya raised her hand. Will we be using any equipment, sir? Padding or protective gear? Excellent question, Maya. Yes, we have standard impact padding for all participants. Safety is our priority. However, I want everyone to understand that in real emergency situations, you may not have protective equipment available. So we train with it now. But always keep in mind that real scenarios are unpredictable. This was fine. This was totally fine. We would have padding. We would be doing controlled exercises. Nothing could go wrong. Now Instructor Brace clapped four of his hands together. I will be assigning pairs based on size and capability. I want matches to be fair and educational. He began calling out names, pairing students together. Della was matched with another Threxian. Two Quellerians I knew from my dormitory level were paired up. The Pollinari were matched with each other, which made sense since they could float and fighting them required different tactics. Kip, Instructor Brace called out. You will be paired with Torvin. Torvin was a large Quellerian, much bigger than me, with strong legs. Kip looked nervous but nodded. Then, you will be paired with Maya. My brain stopped functioning. Time slowed down. Somewhere in the distance, I could hear Kip making a noise that sounded like a dying data processor. I am sorry, Instructor, I said, my voice surprisingly steady considering my internal panic. Could you repeat that? You will be paired with Maya. I think it will be a good learning experience for both of you. Maya can practice restraint and control, and you can learn defensive techniques against a stronger opponent. I turned to look at Maya, who was smiling at me. This will be fun, she said brightly. Do not worry. I will go easy on you. Go easy on me. The human was going to go easy on me. The apex predator from the death world was going to go easy on me during combat training. Van, Kip said quietly, it has been an honor being your friend. I am not going to die. You are absolutely going to die. She said she will go easy on me. A human's idea of easy and our idea of easy are very different concepts. He had a point. Instructor Brace had us all gear up with impact padding. The padding was decent, designed to absorb shock and prevent actual injury. We put on chest guards, arm guards, leg guards, and helmets with face shields. We looked ridiculous, but at least we would be protected. Maya put on her padding quickly and efficiently. Even covered in protective gear, she moved with that casual grace that all humans seem to possess. All right, everyone, Instructor Brace called out. Find some space. We will start with basic defensive stances. Maya, since you have combat training from Earth, perhaps you could demonstrate a proper defensive stance for the class? Sure. Maya stepped into the center of the gymnasium. So this is a basic ready stance. Feet shoulder-width apart, knees slightly bent, hands up to protect your face and core, weight on the balls of your feet so you can move quickly in any direction. She demonstrated the stance. It looked simple but effective. Notice how her center of gravity is low and stable. Instructor Brace added, this gives her balance and makes her harder to knock over. Everyone, try this stance. We all attempted to copy Maya's stance. I bent my knees, raised my arms, tried to look like I knew what I was doing. Good, very good. Instructor Brace walked between us, adjusting postures. Remember, in a real confrontation, the goal is to avoid damage first, then neutralize the threat if necessary. We are not training you to be fighters, we are training you to survive unexpected situations. That was somewhat reassuring. Now we will practice basic blocks. If someone swings at your head, you want to raise your arms and deflect the blow, like this. He demonstrated a blocking motion. The key is to redirect the force, not take it head on. Maya, would you mind being my demonstration partner? Not at all, sir. Maya stepped forward. Instructor Brace was easily twice her size, with his 6 arms and heavy exoskeleton, but Maya did not seem intimidated at all. "I am going to throw a slow punch toward Maya's head," Instructor Brace explained. "Maya, show the class a proper block." He threw the punch, slow and telegraphed. Maya's arm came up smoothly, deflecting the blow to the side. "Excellent. See how she did not try to stop my arm, she redirected it. The force went past her instead of through her. Again, they did it several more times, with Instructor Brace throwing punches from different angles and Maya blocking each one with precise, economical movements. Now, let us add a counter-response. After blocking, Maya will demonstrate a controlled strike to a vulnerable area. "Maya, please pull your strike. We do not want actual contact." Maya nodded. Instructor Brace threw another slow punch. Maya blocked it, and in the same fluid motion, her other hand shot forward in a strike that stopped just centimeters from Instructor Brace's torso. Perfect. Speed, precision, control, this is what we want to achieve. Notice how Maya's entire body was involved in that movement. Not just her arm, but her legs, her core, everything working together. I was taking notes. Mental notes. Lots of mental notes about how to avoid dying. All right, everyone, pair up with your assigned partners. We will practice blocks first. 10 minutes of slow, controlled practice. Remember, the person throwing the strike should be going at about 30% speed. This is about learning the technique, not testing each other's durability. I walked over to where Maya was stretching. She smiled when she saw me approaching. "Ready?" she asked. "I think so. Maybe. Probably not." She laughed. "Seriously, do not worry. We will go super slow. I just want to help you get the movements down. The goal is learning, not getting hurt." We found an open space on the mat. Maya showed me the ready stance again, adjusting my posture slightly. "There you go," she said. "That is better. Now I am going to throw a really slow punch at your head, and I want you to try blocking it like Instructor Brace showed us. Ready?" "Ready." She threw the punch, moving at a speed that I could actually track. I brought my arm up and managed to deflect it somewhat. Good. That was good for a first try, but try to redirect it more, like pushing it to the side instead of just stopping it. "Here, let us do it again." We practiced, over and over. Maya was incredibly patient, explaining the mechanics, showing me the angle my arm should take, reminding me to stay balanced. After about 5 minutes of this, I was actually starting to get the hang of it. "See? You are doing great," Maya said encouragingly. "Now you try throwing some punches and I will block." "Are you sure?" "Totally sure. Give me your best shot." "Well, 30% of your best shot." I threw a cautious punch. Maya blocked it easily. "Good. Again." We continued practicing. I threw punches. She blocked them. She threw punches. I blocked them. It was actually kind of fun in a weird way. The movements became more natural with repetition. "Time," Instructor Brace called out. "Excellent work, everyone. Now we move to the next phase. Light sparring. Same pairs, but now you will be combining offense and defense. Remember, controlled movements. 30% power and stop immediately if your partner signals or if I call a halt. The goal is to practice the techniques, not to win a fight. Begin. Light sparring." We were going to be doing light sparring with a human. "You okay?" Maya asked, noticing my expression. "Fine, totally fine. Just processing the fact that I am about to spar with someone who evolved to hunt prey to exhaustion." Maya winced. "You know, you and Kip really need to stop bringing that up. It makes me sound way scarier than I actually am. You completed the obstacle course 3 times faster than anyone else in the class. That is different. You can regulate your body temperature by sweating. That is just basic biology. You come from a planet where everything is trying to kill you and you became the apex predator anyway." "Okay, when you list it all out like that, it does sound kind of intense," Maya admitted. "But I promise I am going to be very careful. I am not going to hurt you. Trust me." I looked at her face. She seemed genuinely concerned about my well-being. Her expression was open and honest. "Fine," I said. "I trust you." "Great. Ready position?" We both got into our stances. Maya moved first, throwing a slow jab toward my shoulder. I blocked it. She followed with another punch, which I partially deflected. "Good. Now you try." I threw a punch at her. She blocked it easily. We traded strikes back and forth, slowly building a rhythm. Block, strike, block, strike. It was almost like a dance. You are getting better, Maya said. Try mixing it up. Do not let me predict your pattern. I threw a punch toward her left side. She blocked. I immediately followed with a strike toward her right. She blocked that too, but I could see a flicker of approval in her eyes. Nice. That was smart. We continued sparring. I was actually holding my own, kind of. Maya was obviously still in complete control of the situation, but I was learning, the movements were starting to make sense. And then Instructor Brace decided to escalate things. Excellent progress, everyone. Now let us add some realism. I am going to have some of you demonstrate full-speed sparring, with proper control, of course. Maya, since you have the most training, would you be willing to demonstrate what full-speed combat looks like? I think it would be educational for the class. Maya looked uncertain. Are you sure, sir? I do not want to make anyone uncomfortable. I will be your sparring partner. Instructor Brace announced. I can take it. Plus, it will show the class what real combat situations might look like. Everyone else, circle up. Watch and learn. The entire class formed a circle around the center mat. Maya and Instructor Brace faced each other, both in ready stances. Standard rules. Instructor Brace called out. First to score 3 clean hits wins. Hits must be controlled, but can be full speed. Begin. What happened next is difficult to describe. Maya moved. That is the simple version. The complicated version is that Maya moved in ways that I did not know bodies could move. She exploded forward with incredible speed, feinted left, actually went right, and her hand slapped Instructor Brace's chest guard before he could fully react. Point. Someone called out. They reset. This time Instructor Brace went on offense, using his 6 arms to throw multiple strikes from different angles. It should have been impossible to defend against 6 arms versus 2. But Maya blocked every single strike, her arms moving in a blur, her footwork keeping her just out of reach of the attacks she could not block. Then she saw an opening. She ducked under one of his punches, stepped inside his guard and tapped his chest guard again.
Point.
The watching students were completely silent. We were watching something beyond our understanding. Instructor Brace reset again, and this time he was serious. He moved faster, using his greater reach and multiple limbs to press the advantage. Maya adapted instantly. She became defensive, blocking and dodging, waiting for an opening. Instructor Brace threw a combination of strikes. Maya blocked 2, dodged 1, and then she did something that made everyone gasp. She dropped low, swept his front leg, and while he was off balance, she tapped his chest guard for the 3rd time. Match! Instructor Brace called out, genuine respect in his voice. Excellent work, Maya. Class, what did you observe? Silence. Anyone? Instructor Brace pressed. What made Maya successful in that match? Kip raised a tentative hand. She was really fast? Yes. But what else? She adapted to the situation. I heard myself say, when you attacked, she defended. When she saw an opening, she took it. She was not trying to overpower you, she was using strategy. Exactly. Instructor Brace looked pleased. Maya could not match me in raw strength or reach, but she used speed, timing, and tactics to win. This is what I want all of you to understand. Combat is not about being the strongest. It is about being smart, being adaptable, and staying calm under pressure. Maya walked back over to me, slightly out of breath, but smiling. Sorry if that was too much. I might have gotten a bit competitive. You swept his leg out from under him. Yeah, that was probably showing off a little. He has 6 arms, and you beat him in under a minute. Technically 52 seconds, but who is counting? I stared at her. You are terrifying, you know that. So I have been told. She grinned. Want to go again? I will be extra gentle this time. We returned to our sparring. Maya kept her word and was incredibly careful with me. She moved slower, gave me time to react, and provided helpful feedback. Tuck your elbow more. Good block. Try to keep your balance. The rest of the class continued their own sparring sessions. I could hear grunts of effort, the sound of padding hitting padding, and Instructor Brace calling out encouragement and corrections. And then the alarm went off. Not the class timer alarm, the station emergency alarm. The lights in the gymnasium shifted to red emergency lighting. A blaring siren echoed through the halls. Instructor Brace's head snapped up, his antennae fully extended in alert mode. "Everyone, stop," he commanded. "Defensive positions." We all froze. Emergency alarms on a space station are not something you ignore. They mean genuine danger. Hull breach, fire, system failure, hostile boarding, something bad. The intercom crackled to life. "Attention all station personnel. We have a breach in Cargo Bay 7. Hostile fauna detected. Security teams are responding. All civilians remain in secure areas. This is not a drill." "Hostile fauna? On a space station? Instructor, what does that mean?" Della asked, her voice shaky. Before Instructor Brace could answer, we heard it. A crash, coming from the corridor outside the gymnasium, then another crash, then a sound that made my blood freeze, a sort of chittering screech that echoed through the walls. "Everyone, back wall. Now," Instructor Brace ordered. "Stay together. Stay calm." We scrambled toward the far wall. My heart was hammering. Kip grabbed my arm, his grip tight with fear. The gymnasium doors exploded inward, and something came through. It was huge, maybe 3 meters long, with a segmented exoskeleton that was dark green and glistening. It had 8 legs, each ending in sharp points. Its head was mostly mouth, with rows of serrated teeth. Multiple eyes glinted in the red emergency lighting. "Corethian Ripper," Instructor Brace said quietly, his voice tense. "Extremely aggressive, extremely dangerous." The creature's eyes fixed on us, on the group of soft, squishy students backed against the wall. It made that chittering screech again and started moving toward us. Past. Instructor Brace stepped forward, placing himself between the creature and the students. "Stay back, I will handle this." But the Ripper was incredibly fast. It charged at Instructor Brace, its front legs raised, ready to strike. Instructor Brace met it head-on, using his 6 arms to grapple with the creature. They collided with a horrible crunching sound. The instructor was strong, but the Ripper was pure predatory muscle and rage. They grappled, rolled, exchanged blows. Instructor Brace was holding his own, but barely. The creature was trying to get its mouth close enough to bite. "We need to help him," someone yelled. "We do not have weapons," someone else responded. "There are 20 of us. We can distract it." But nobody moved. We were all frozen in terror, watching Instructor Brace fight a nightmare creature from someone's worst fever dream. Except one person was not frozen. Maya ran forward. "Maya, no!" I shouted. She did not stop. She grabbed an equipment bar from the wall as she ran, a metal pole about 2 meters long that we used for stretching exercises. The Ripper had Instructor Brace pinned, its mouth descending toward his face. Instructor Brace was holding it back with 4 of his arms, but he was losing ground. Maya jumped onto the creature's back. Actually jumped onto the armored back of an alien apex predator. From a running start, the Ripper shrieked and reared up, trying to throw her off. Maya locked her legs around its midsection and jammed the metal pole between its mandibles, forcing its mouth open and keeping it away from Instructor Brace. "Get clear," Maya yelled at the instructor. Instructor Brace scrambled backward, green blood oozing from several cuts in his exoskeleton. The Ripper thrashed violently, slamming itself against the walls, trying to dislodge Maya. But Maya held on with a grip that seemed impossible. Her legs locked tight, her arms straining as she kept that metal bar wedged in the creature's mouth. Someone hit the emergency seal on the doors. Maya shouted, "Trap it in here." Kip moved first, running to the door panel. His hands were shaking, but he managed to hit the emergency lockdown. The blast doors started sliding closed. The Ripper sensed the closing doors and made a desperate lunge toward the exit, toward freedom, toward the rest of the station. Maya yanked the pole sideways, using it like a steering mechanism, pulling the creature's head away from the doors. The Ripper screeched in fury and tried to buck her off. The blast doors sealed shut with a heavy thud. We were locked in with a Corathian Ripper and 1 human. The Ripper gave up trying to escape and instead focused all its rage on removing the annoying primate clinging to its back. It threw itself against the wall. Once, twice, 3 times. Maya grunted with each impact but did not let go. "I need something to secure it," she yelled. "Ropes, cables, anything." "The climbing ropes," I shouted, suddenly remembering. The equipment room. I ran to the equipment storage room. Kip right behind me. We grabbed an armful of the synthetic climbing ropes we used for training and ran back. Maya was still on the creature's back, but I could see she was tiring. Even humans have limits. The pole was starting to bend under the pressure of the Ripper's jaws. "Throw me a rope," Maya commanded. I threw one. She caught it one-handed, looped it around the creature's head and through its mouth, then pulled tight, creating an improvised harness that kept the pole in place. "More! I need more!" We threw more ropes. Maya secured them with quick, efficient movements, wrapping the creature's legs, binding them together. The Ripper was fighting every second, thrashing and screeching. But Maya kept work. "Instructor," Maya called out, "can you help me get this last section secured?" Instructor Brace, despite his injuries, moved forward. Together they managed to bind the Ripper's rear legs. With each rope added, the creature's movements became more restricted. Finally, after what felt like hours but was probably only 3 minutes, the Ripper was fully secured. Bound with climbing ropes, the metal bar still wedged in its mouth, immobilized on the gymnasium floor. Maya finally let go and slid off the creature's back. She landed on her feet but immediately sat down, breathing hard. "Everyone okay?" she asked between breaths. We all just stared at her. She had just wrestled a Carathian Ripper into submission, with climbing ropes, while riding on its back. "You," Kip said slowly, "are absolutely insane." Maya laughed, though it sounded a bit shaky. "Yeah. That was definitely not my smartest moment. But hey, it worked." The intercom crackled. "Attention! Security teams have contained the breach in Cargo Bay 7. All hostile fauna has been eliminated or captured. Station is secure. Is anyone injured?" Instructor Brace moved to the intercom panel. "This is Instructor Brace in Gymnasium 12. We have a secured Carathian Ripper in here. We also have one very brave and slightly crazy human student. Send medical and a containment team." Within minutes, the gymnasium was full of security personnel, medical staff, and several very confused administrators, trying to understand how a training class had managed to capture one of the deadliest creatures in the sector. Maya had to recount the story 3 times. Each time, the officials looked at her with expressions that ranged from awe to disbelief to mild horror. "You jumped on its back," one security officer said. "Yes. Voluntarily." "Well, someone had to." "You are from Earth, correct?" "Yes." The security officer looked at their colleague. "That explains everything." They took the Ripper away in a specialized containment unit. Medical staff checked everyone over. Instructor Brace had some injuries but nothing critical. A few students were treated for shock. But physically we were all fine. Thanks entirely to Maya. As the excitement died down and normal lighting was restored, I found Maya sitting against the wall, sipping water from a container that looked comically small in her hands. I sat down next to her. After a moment, Kip joined us. "So," I said. "So," Maya replied. "That was probably the most terrifying thing I have ever witnessed." "Same," Kip added. "Sorry about that," Maya said. "I know it was risky, but Instructor Brace was about to get seriously hurt, and I could not just stand there." "You saved all of us," I pointed out. "That thing would have torn through us in seconds if you had not stopped it." Maya shrugged. "I just did what needed to be done." "No," I said firmly. "You did what only you could have done. None of us could have held on to that creature. None of us would have even tried." "Vin is right," Kip said. "That was, without question, the bravest and most reckless thing I have ever seen." "Both at the same time," I agreed. Maya smiled. "Well, humans are kind of known for that, bravery and recklessness. Sometimes it is hard to tell the difference." We sat there in silence for a moment, processing everything that had happened. "Maya," I said. "Yay. I am really glad you joined our gym class." "Me too," Kip added quickly. Maya's smile widened. "Thanks, guys. I am glad I joined too, even if you keep calling me terrifying." "You are terrifying," I said, "but you are also our friend. Both things can be true." "I will take it." Instructor Brace approached us, his wounds bandaged, moving a bit stiffly. That was either the most impressive or most foolish thing I have seen in 15 years of teaching. I have not decided which. Maya stood up, offering a respectful nod. "Sorry for breaking protocol, sir. I should have waited for proper security response." "Nonsense. Instructor Brace actually laughed, a sound I had never heard from him before. You assessed the situation, identified the best course of action, and executed it with remarkable skill. That is exactly what combat training is meant to teach. You just learned it about 50 years faster than anyone else. He looked at the rest of the class who were gathered nearby. Let this be a lesson to all of you. Maya comes from a world that most of us cannot even imagine. A world where danger is constant and adaptation is survival. She has instincts that we simply do not have, but she also has something more important. He paused for emphasis. She has courage. She has quick thinking. And she has compassion. She risked her own safety to protect others. These are qualities that transcend species, world classification, or evolutionary background. These are the qualities we all should aspire to. A few students started clapping, then more joined. Soon the entire class was applauding, and Maya's face was turning a darker shade, which I learned was the human equivalent of embarrassment. Okay, she said, waving her hands. Stop, please, I just did what anyone would do. No, I said. You did what only you would do, and we are all alive because of it. The class was officially cancelled for the rest of the day due to the security incident. We were all given the rest of the day off to recover from the trauma. As we gathered our things and prepared to leave, Maya walked over to where Kip and I were packing up our equipment. Hey, she said. Want to grab something from the station cafeteria? I am starving. Fighting alien monsters really works up an appetite. You are hungry? Kip asked. After all that? Yeah, my body is probably in some kind of adrenaline recovery mode. I need food, lots of food, and maybe something sweet. I looked at Kip. Kip looked at me. We both shrugged. Sure, I said, but you are going to have to explain your entire planet to us, in detail, because I need to understand how humans evolved to be like this. Deal, Maya said. But fair warning, Earth's evolutionary history is kind of violent. I am shocked, Kip said flatly. Truly shocked. We left the gymnasium together, walking through the corridors of Station 12. Other students and station personnel stared at Maya as we passed. News had already spread about what happened. The human who rode a Corinthian Ripper like it was some kind of extreme sport. You know, I said as we walked, when you first showed up to class, I thought having a human in our training group would be dangerous. And, Maya prompted. I was completely right. It is dangerous. But having you on our side, that is the safest I have ever felt. Maya laughed. That same warm, genuine laugh I had come to recognize. You guys are going to make me emotional. Stop it. Never, Kip said. From now on we are going to remind you constantly that you are terrifying and wonderful, and we are very lucky to know you. I can live with that, Maya said. As we entered the cafeteria, Maya proceeded to order enough food to feed 3 normal people. I thought about how much had changed in just 3 weeks. We had started this class, afraid of a human, afraid of the Deathworlder who could do impossible things. But somewhere along the way, fear had transformed into respect, then friendship, then something deeper. Understanding, maybe, or acceptance. Humans were different. They came from a world that would kill most species in days. They had evolved to be persistence hunters, endurance machines, apex predators with opposable thumbs and complex problem-solving skills. But they also had something else: compassion, bravery, loyalty to their friends, the ability to look at impossible odds and say, well, someone has to do something. Maya sat down with her tray of food, enough calories to power a small shuttle, and grinned at us. So what do you want to know about Earth first? The part about the hurricanes, the earthquakes, the megafauna, or the fact that we domesticated wolves and made them into pets? You did what now? Kip asked, horrified. Oh yeah, humans and wolves teamed up like 40,000 years ago. Now we have dogs. They are great, very fluffy, much less murder than their ancestors. I put my head in my hands. Your species domesticated apex predators. Of course you did. To be fair, they kind of domesticated themselves. We just provided food and shelter. They provided hunting assistance and companionship. That is not how domestication is supposed to work, Kip protested. Maya shrugged and took a bite of her meal. Humans do not really follow the standard rules for anything. She was not wrong. As we sat there in the cafeteria listening to Maya explain the absolutely insane evolutionary history of Earth with the same casual tones someone might use to discuss the weather, I realized something important. Yes, humans were terrifying. Yes, they came from a death world that would give most species nightmares. Yes, Maya had just fought off a Korathian ripper with climbing ropes and sheer determination, but they were also wonderful. Loyal, brave, compassionate. And having one as a friend, that was the best survival strategy in the galaxy. Hey Ven, Maya said, pulling me from my thoughts. You okay? You have been quiet. Just thinking, I said, about how lucky we are. Lucky? That you joined our gym class. That you are on our side. That humans, despite being absolutely insane, are also pretty great. Maya's smile was bright enough to light up the cafeteria. Thanks. That means a lot. You guys are pretty great too. Even if you do have noodle arms, my arms are perfectly functional, I protested. They are noodles, Kip agreed. Traitor. We spent the rest of the afternoon in that cafeteria talking and laughing, sharing stories about our different worlds, and I learned something valuable that day, something that no textbook or training manual could teach. The galaxy is full of different species, different cultures, different worlds. Some are peaceful, some are harsh, some are in between. But it does not matter where you come from. It does not matter if you evolved on a paradise world or a death world. What matters is who you choose to be. What matters is how you treat others. What matters is whether you stand up when something dangerous comes through the door. And humans from Earth, they always stand up. Even if it means jumping on the back of a Korathian ripper with nothing but climbing ropes and sheer audacity. Because that is what humans do. They see a problem. They see someone in danger, and their first thought is not how do I survive this, but rather how do I fix this. It is terrifying. It is beautiful. It is completely insane. It is very, very human. And I would not have it any other way.